The question of Jesus of Nazareth's historical existence stands at the intersection of history, religion, and culture. Unlike mythical figures relegated to legend, Jesus is a central figure in Christianity and an influential character in other religions. This video delves into the depths of historical, archaeological, and scriptural evidence to explore the existence of this enigmatic figure. The portrayal of Jesus in the Christian New Testament offers a complex blend of theological and historical narratives. The four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, each provide unique insights into Jesus' life, teachings, and divine nature, grounding them in a historical context that has been the subject of extensive scholarly analysis. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, known as the Synoptic Gospels, present Jesus in various roles: a prophetic teacher, a healer, and a moral guide. Matthew's Gospel highlights Jesus' lineage and his fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies. Mark's Gospel, considered the earliest, offers a more concise narrative, focusing on Jesus' actions and miracles as a demonstration of his authority and divinity. Luke's account provides a detailed account of Jesus' teachings and parables, emphasizing his compassion and social teachings. However, they don't provide any concrete evidence to substantiate his existence. This is also the case with another religious text, the Quran. The Islamic view of Jesus, known as Isa in the Quran, offers a unique perspective that differs significantly from Christian narratives, especially considering that the Quran was written approximately 600 years after Jesus' time. In Islam, Jesus is highly revered not as a divine entity, but as a prophet, an esteemed messenger of God. One of the most notable aspects of Jesus' story in the Quran is the account of his miraculous birth, which, while mirroring the Christian narrative of the virgin birth, presents a distinct theological interpretation. The Quran states, "She said, 'My Lord, how will I have a child when no man has touched me?' The angel said, 'Such is Allah. He creates what he wills. When he decrees a matter, he only says to it, 'Be,' and it is." In addition to being called Isa, he is known by various honorifics and titles in Islamic tradition, such as Al-Masih, translating to the Messiah, Ibn Maryam, meaning son of Mary, Rasul Allah, signifying messenger of God, Nabi, which means prophet, and Ruh Allah, interpreted as Spirit of God. The title Ruh Allah is particularly significant as it represents the Islamic belief in Jesus' miraculous creation through the divine command of God. A significant point of divergence between Islamic and Christian views is the crucifixion of Jesus. The Quran asserts that Jesus was not crucified, but was instead raised to heaven by God. This narrative rejects the Christian concept of Jesus' sacrificial death and resurrection, underscoring a fundamental theological difference between the two religions. But in the quest to understand the historical figure of Jesus of Nazareth, non-Christian or non-religious sources provide an invaluable external perspective. These accounts, coming from varied cultural and religious backgrounds, offer insights that contribute significantly to the discussion of Jesus' historical existence. Publius Cornelius Tacitus, a renowned Roman historian, offers one of the earliest non-Christian references to Jesus in his work Annals, written around 116 AD. Tacitus provides a detailed account of the persecution of Christians under Emperor Nero, within which he references Jesus' execution. Christus, the founder of the name, had undergone the death penalty in the reign of Tiberius by sentence of the procurator Pontius Pilatus, and the pernicious superstition was checked for a moment, only to break out once more, not merely in Judea, the home of the disease, but in the capital itself, where all things horrible or shameful in the world collect and find a vogue. Tacitus's account is significant for several reasons. Firstly, his description of Jesus, or Christus, aligns with the Christian accounts of Jesus' crucifixion under Pontius Pilate. Secondly, Tacitus's critical view of Christianity as a pernicious superstition evidences his lack of bias towards Christian beliefs, lending credibility to his account as a historical source. Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian, provides another key non-Christian account of Jesus. His work, Antiquities of the Jews, includes references to Jesus that are considered among the most significant historical mentions outside Christian texts. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such men as received the truth with pleasure. He drew over to him both many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. He was Christ, and when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men among us, had condemned him to the cross, those that loved him at the first did not forsake him. While there is some debate over potential Christian interpolation in Josephus's account, the reference to Jesus as a wise man who was the Christ and was crucified under Pilate offers noteworthy non-Christian corroboration of key aspects of Jesus' life as described in Christian sources. Pliny the Younger, in his capacity as a Roman governor, wrote letters to Emperor Trajan that indirectly reference Jesus. In a letter dated around 112 AD, Pliny describes early Christian worship practices, providing a glimpse into how early Christians viewed Jesus. They asserted, however, that the sum of their guilt or error amounted to no more than this: that they were accustomed to meet on a fixed day before dawn and sing responsively a hymn to Christ as to a God, and to bind themselves by oath not to some crime, but not to commit fraud, theft, or adultery, not falsify their trust, nor to refuse to return a trust when called upon to do so. Pliny's account, while not directly attesting to Jesus' historical existence, underscores the reverence and divine status attributed to Jesus by early Christians, further illuminating the early Christian belief system and its rapid spread across the Roman Empire. The accounts of Tacitus, Josephus, and Pliny the Younger collectively provide a multifaceted perspective on Jesus of Nazareth. Their independent accounts, free from religious bias, strengthen the argument for Jesus' existence as a historical figure, transcending the theological narratives of Christian texts. Archaeological discoveries and scholarly analysis play a crucial role in understanding the historical context of the New Testament and, by extension, the life of Jesus of Nazareth. While direct archaeological evidence of Jesus himself remains elusive, several findings have significantly contributed to corroborating the historical setting and key figures mentioned in the New Testament narratives. One of the most notable archaeological findings is the Pilate stone, discovered at the site of Caesarea Maritima in 1961. This stone, dated to the 1st century, bears an inscription that references Pontius Pilate, the Roman prefect of Judea, who presided at the trial of Jesus and gave the order for his crucifixion. This inscription is crucial as it is the only known occurrence of Pontius Pilate's name in contemporary records, thereby affirming his historical existence as mentioned in the Gospel accounts. Pilate's role in the trial and crucifixion of Jesus is a central event in the Christian narrative, and the discovery of the Pilate stone lends historical weight to these accounts. Additional archaeological findings have helped illuminate the cultural and societal backdrop of the New Testament. For instance, excavations in Galilee and Jerusalem have uncovered 1st century homes, synagogues, and other structures that provide context to the life and times of Jesus. These findings offer insights into the religious, political, and social dynamics of Judea under Roman rule. Beyond archaeology, scholarly examination of historical texts also contributes to the understanding of Jesus' historical existence. Rudolf Bultmann, professor of New Testament studies, once remarked, "Of course, the doubt as to whether Jesus really existed is unfounded and not worth refutation. No sane person can doubt that Jesus stands as founder behind the historical movement, whose first distinct stage is represented by the oldest Palestinian community." Skeptical New Testament scholar Bart Ehrman states that we have numerous independent accounts of his life in the sources lying behind the Gospels and the writings of Paul. These sources, oral traditions, and early writings provide an array of perspectives that all point to the existence of Jesus. The combination of archaeological discoveries, such as the Pilate stone, with scholarly analysis of historical texts, presents a compelling case for the historical context of the New Testament. While direct evidence of Jesus' existence remains beyond the reach of archaeology, the corroborative nature of these findings and analyses strengthens the plausibility of the Gospel narratives and supports the view that Jesus was a historical figure within the setting and time frame depicted in the Christian scriptures. The criterion of embarrassment is also a critical tool in historical analysis, particularly when examining the accounts presented in the New Testament. The criterion of embarrassment is based on the premise that authors of historical texts are unlikely to fabricate events or statements that would create difficulties or embarrassment for themselves or their cause. When applied to the New Testament, this criterion becomes a significant means of assessing the historical reliability of certain events in the life of Jesus. A prime example of this criterion is the crucifixion of Jesus. Crucifixion was a form of Roman execution reserved for slaves, insurgents, and the most despised criminals. For the early Christians, claiming that their Messiah and divine figure was subjected to such a humiliating and brutal death would have been counterproductive in their cultural and religious context. The rapid spread of Christianity in the 1st centuries AD also points to the historicity of its central figure. The Apostle Paul's letters, written a few decades after Jesus' death, mention his interactions with Jesus' contemporaries, including his brother James and Apostle Peter. The growth of Christianity in the face of persecution suggests that its foundational claims, including the existence of Jesus, were widely accepted among its early followers. On the other hand, there is an ongoing academic discussion about the historical nature of Jesus. Some scholars suggest that he might be a composite character, influenced by various Jewish and Hellenistic religious and philosophical ideas of that era. Critics who question his existence or express skepticism about it present several arguments. One such argument focuses on the lack of direct contemporary records authored by Jesus or eyewitnesses from his time. The primary sources concerning Jesus, like the Gospels in the New Testament, were written several decades after his supposed death. This temporal distance leads to debates over the reliability and authenticity of these narratives. Some scholars and individuals draw parallels between the story of Jesus and mythological or legendary figures from various cultures like Horus from Egyptian mythology or Mithras in Roman mythology. This comparison suggests that the narrative of Jesus might share similarities with other mythological gods or heroes, especially in themes like miraculous birth, martyrdom, and resurrection. Critics frequently highlight the inconsistencies and differences found in the New Testament's descriptions of Jesus' life and teachings. These variances are viewed as possible signs of flawed historical documentation, implying that the story may have been modified or shaped by different writers and traditions. The exploration of Jesus' historical existence reveals a convergence of biblical scriptures, Quranic verses, and historical records, forming a compelling narrative that affirms Jesus of Nazareth as a historical figure. While interpretations of his life and teachings vary, the academic consensus and religious traditions worldwide acknowledge his profound impact on history and culture. This inquiry, transcending academic debate, invites a deeper understanding of Jesus' role in shaping religious thought and global cultural heritage. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to let us know. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on our upcoming videos. Have thoughts or questions about what you just watched? Leave a comment below. We love hearing from you, and we try to respond to as many comments as we can. Also, for more content and behind-the-scenes updates, follow us on X. And remember, sharing is caring. If you think someone else might enjoy this video, please share it with them. See you in the next video.